My name is Celia Gibbings. I have been operating. I'm going to share a bit about my entrepreneurial career, and I can probably start with giving a bit of a background about myself. I'm a Caribbean person. I live in Trinidad, but I was born in Jamaica. My mother was Jamaican, my father Trinidadian, and have lived in the Caribbean for my whole life, which is quite a few decades now. I guess because of my Caribbean identity and the comfort of being feeling like a Caribbean person, I see myself that way, and I think that probably will inform, I guess, the my career and where I work to start with. My background is really in IT, in systems development initially, and started life for 13 years where I worked at BB, which is now Caribbean Airlines. So that's part of my Caribbean background as well, and my natural Caribbeanness. And then my second major um, job per se was in Century Eslon, which was a Trinidad manufacturer, but with offices and distributors right through the Caribbean. So both of my formal jobs before I became an entrepreneur were Caribbean based to start with. Um, so that's a little bit of my background. So I basically started life as a developer, working in Caribbean organizations, Caribbean Airlines slash BB, and then Century Eslon in IT management, and really doing IT things to connect the Caribbean and the locations in the Caribbean. In 2005, which is 17 years ago, I decided to step out for my first entrepreneurial project, I guess. Um, and that was starting to consult um, in IT project implementations, digital transformation, essentially managing these projects, and in both in Trinidad and across the Caribbean. And I did that. I've been doing that, and I still continue to do that. So I manage digital transformation projects, which is my main formal business. But during COVID, I had another entrepreneurial initiative and experience, being home and trying to decide. You're stuck at home, really and truly, with in your backyard and your four walls, and along with a family member who is an artist. She and I, young creative, Tanika Mohammed, we decided to launch a business where we highlight Caribbean flora and fauna and products that celebrate it, which is where our creative initiative, Art to Table, was started in 2020 in Trinidad, basically, and um, we with Tanika's artwork, which is all local Caribbean flowers and plants, paintings, original paintings. We decided to embed them on handcrafted wooden coasters, placemats, and trays made of teak, all locally made, or our whole production process is local. So this is our second year of operation, and we still are a startup. We have been quite successful in our distributorship so far. Um, we are now in 6 masses in Trinidad, and also we are in one of our local handmade handicraft um, outlets in Trinidad as well, called Junkalage. So we really, at this point in time, while I continue to, I guess, support my bread and butter project management on the IT side, my real entrepreneurial venture that we really want to work together, and we've had some measure of success over the last 2 years, despite COVID, and probably along because of COVID in Trinidad. We really want to branch out in the wider Caribbean and probably internationally. So that's a little bit of the background of my 2 entrepreneurial experiences in life so far. So part of my background, I'm going to give you an explanation and the history of my entrepreneurial ventures. I think that today's International Women's Day, and I think if we want to talk about, being a female, a woman entrepreneur in the world and in the Caribbean, I guess I can share some experiences. In the IT side, I guess a lot of people would understand that the technical side. I started, I think I was in the first year of UE. My started presenting and making available computer science. So I was in the very first class at UE for computer science, and so I guess I was one of the first graduates. And in computer science, and as I guess to some extent, and some people still feel that technology, coding, what they call STEM, are heavily male bias areas of work. I'm not sure how much I felt, I had to define myself as a woman, and that there were issues with that. I guess people don't expect that you would work in that area, especially many years ago when I started. So I guess that may have been something of a challenge, something of a gap and a leap. But I think once you do your work, people, realize that you're competent. But I can say, as far as working in the IT world, I do think that I guess it's because women, I don't know if it's multitasking or then we're able to see the forest from the trees. So I think a lot of the what they call business requirements, which is the first level of really understanding what, if you're doing a digital transformation project of any kind, trying to understand exactly what an organization needs and getting the whole picture. I somehow think that women have the edge on that, of trying to really get down into the guts and bugs and talking to everybody. And I think that is the main probably difference, for whatever reason, if it's a female experience or it is simply just because women have so much to deal with and have to manage at the same time. And I think you're able to see the full picture. And I think men find it easier to get into the technical details. And sometimes they rush to provide solutions without fully understanding the whole picture. So I think that is the main advantage of being a woman. It's probably just a social side effect, that you fully understand how things work before you start coding and things like that. So I think that is important. And the human aspect of change management, especially in digital transformation, I think women are better at that, right? We are more understanding. So I think that is important. I think that as far as the professional side of things, I also work with my cousin out of Jamaica, consulting, and she runs a company called GPS, which is Great People Solutions, which is an HR, strategic HR company, and a lot of the strategic and change management things that come with that. I think our whole team, except for one, is a female team, and I think that speaks for itself. That somehow improving business, whether it is managing human resources or implementing systems, we seem to be able to understand the human element of that, and I think that's an advantage. As far as the business that we are involved with, which is the creative business Art to Table, which is what we launched in 2020. Myself and a female artist, Tanika Mohammed, I think that it seems that at this time in the world and in the Caribbean and in Trinidad, most of the entrepreneurs that we meet are women. I can say from our experience at our first location, which was Juncolage, which is a local boutique for handmade local products. It's all women, almost. It's run by women, started by women. And I don't know if it is because women, have other things to do. And so entrepreneurship is something that allows them the time to do these other things. But we have found that. And we have also found, because as I explained in my background, that have been fortunate to be part of the Massey Nudge program, where we're in 6 Massey stores. And we are what they call the corner shop, which is they're the special at the end of an aisle in each of these stores. We have a shelf, and of the 8 entrepreneurs, all of us are female. So I find that in my creative entrepreneurial venture, um, all of it has been along with women as well. So that is really my experience as a woman and a female entrepreneur. And I think that, I think there is a certain kind of community that is built that gives a certain kind of strength for up and coming startups, creatives, local entrepreneurs. This is very interesting. I'm thinking a lot about equality of operating in the business space. And somehow to me, I think a lot of it simply is to show that your capability, your capacity, and your ability to do things and deliver more or less. So a lot of the fact is, women are accustomed to getting things done. We just have to because our, looking after families, children, and I think that's just a natural part. I don't know if it is something that women socialize because we have been given that responsibility, but because of that, I find that women just deliver basically, both in the project management area that we have to just complete things, and we don't have time for too much else but just making sure that things are completed and delivered as we were requested to do. Um, I think that an important part also that I find that, and that it is part of my goal and my mentorship, and because my son is a young creative as well as Tanika, who is a young creative artist. I think also that women also help to empower young people, especially in the creative space and also in the local space. And part of entrepreneurship is allowing, well, let me rephrase that. Creatives, by the nature of what they do, and creative entrepreneurial projects have to be in the informal space, and as a result, by nature, that's where these startups and so depend on creative inputs, and so they can't help but being entrepreneurial. And we have a whole range in Trinidad, and I'm certain the whole Caribbean, of young creative entrepreneurs who can really make a contribution to our economy, to our day-to-day life. Because as let's be honest, when we were locked down and in COVID, we needed things that would take our minds away from the circumstances. And what did we miss? We missed the creative things that we are accustomed to doing, going to music, looking at art, getting food, and all those sorts of things. And so it just shows how important the creative young workspaces, and the fact also that comes with that, a lot of these people are also women. So I think that is one of the important things as far as being female in the entrepreneurial workspace. To be absolutely honest, I think because I have more or less been able to maneuver and be successful in a field that is a business field that is really dominated by men. I don't know if it's just because of time, because I came into it when it was new, so anybody who was in it would probably have an equal chance. So I don't really think that much about International Women's Day per se in my normal life, because it seems to be kind of incidental. But then when you go back and you think about it, and you realize, I guess, other experiences, and also and then you also reflect that maybe things that you just consider to be second nature, when you look at them, like as I said, we are in this program, Nudge with Massey, and all the entrepreneurs are women. So it makes you think, wow, women are really powerful, and it is a factor. Being a female person seems to be part of either the requirement for success or one of the factors, especially now and especially in the startup new entrepreneurial workspace. I think that is important, and I think the community aspect of being female um, entrepreneurs, business people. There seems to be, I think, in working together and supporting other women. And it seems to be something that is informal, but I think International Women's Day and other initiatives like that um, formalize something that maybe we take for granted, and I think it's a good way to celebrate them. So I think that's important. And I also think, as I said before, for some reason women just seem to be able to get things done, maybe because we have been socialized to do so. But I think it is on days like this we could look back and see what we take for granted is something that we can celebrate and, make a special reference to on a special day.